Hello everybody and welcome back to 2xthegrind and welcome to episode 12. 12 episodes in, 12 days of Christmas, 12 rings. No, 7 rings.
You know something?
Yeah.
I forgot our podcast name for a second. And then when you said that, I was like, damn, that's a good name.
Do you know what's funny? So did I.
Really?
And my brain just went on auto mode.
Went for it. Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
That was
I
really
thought
weird.
I was about to as well, weirdly.
Yeah.
Because
It's a good name. I heard it and I was like, whoa, that's good.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
Guys, can I ask a question? Do you like our podcast name? Because I think it's quite smart. It's a play on words. Like, obviously, we're testing out coffees every week. 2xthegrind. 2xthegrind of esports. You know, player, host. It's double the grind and we grind.
I know that was random, but I'm being really serious.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I love our name. I know. Remember when it came to me and I went up to you and I said, what about this? And I was like, hear me out on the explanation. What a wicked name, isn't it?
Great job.
Wicked name. Anyway, welcome everybody. So lovely to have you back here. Thank you so much for coming back around and happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's having a wonderful week and I hope this gets you through the hump that is a Wednesday. Now, today, what have we got on the menu for you? Well, I hope you're hungry because we got some big eats, haven't we? We've obviously got the major coming up very soon. We've had quite the week.
Call of Duty talk.
We've had quite the week in Call of Duty. Quite the week. It's been... I mean, this season's been nothing short of drama, has it? It's
been pretty intense.
I've said this on the broadcast that we're competing with Netflix top 10 at the moment with the amount of drama in our season. 100%. There's so much going on. I did say on the broadcast and I thought it was spot on. Yeah. Because so much goes on. There is always something happening. I feel like every single week we're like, boy, what a week. You know what do you know what I mean?
I like it. There's storylines in and out of game, and I've really been enjoying this season.
Is there any way you want to start today? Apart from, obviously, wait, hold on, the coffee. Hold on. Hold the phone. Let me have a sip, because clearly I'm not in the zone.
You don't normally have a sip, I feel like, until... Actually, no, you do.
I do when we talk about it. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Okay, so coffee on today's episode, number 12, is not your average Joe. This was kindly gifted to us by Dawn and John, some family friends of ours. They're lovely, lovely, lovely people. Love you guys. Thank you so much for sending this in. This is by a brand called Coffee Talk, which is, I just think, is spitting image of what we're doing here. So love that.
Fits the show, doesn't it?
It does fit the show. This was hand roasted. It's an Italian roast. It is a dark roast. It's fresh ground coffee, and the back doesn't say too much about it. So there's no tasting notes or anything as some of the other ones that we've had. But it was roasted in the USA. Ingredients: coffee. That's a good start. And on the back it does read, when the moment requires a delicious coffee break, brew up a pot of this artesian roast gourmet coffee. Take an average day and make it exceptional. This is delicious and it's anything but average. So I love that already.
Yeah.
Okay then. So, first sip?
I already had 3 sips.
Oh, okay. Well,
did you not have a sip? Didn't you already have one?
Yeah, I did. Second sip.
I'm
a hot mess. Yeah. Every podcast I think people are probably like, Jesus, she's nuts in real life, isn't she?
This is, well, you know what? Technically it's your off day because you're not,
Yeah.
Mondays are usually the off day.
Yeah.
So,
but this is a Monday technically for us, guys.
We usually record on Tuesday.
I hate breaking that illusion though. This is a Wednesday. We've got up at 4 a.m. to do this. Yeah, I do. I'm just a bit nuts in real life anyway, but whatever.
You are the best way.
We brewed this coffee in a cafetiere, which is a French press, and we've poured it with some cream and some sugar, some actual sugar and actual cream, and very, very delicious so far. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, can I say something?
We're trying to get the ratio of the French press right. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, but what I was going to say, I had a sip of it. I actually really like it.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
Once we figured it out a little bit.
Yeah. Can you pass me my water, please?
Yeah.
I'm very thirsty.
When we first tried it, it was a little bit strong, a little bit too strong.
Thank
but
you.
I think that's our fault.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to get the ratio of French press. Do you know how many guys? Anybody who is a French press pro, can you let us know for 2 people?
What's the correct ratio?
What is the correct ratio of coffee to
and
water? What would you say is a good ratio? Someone help us out. Thank you very much. I'll be digging through the comments for that. Anyway, back to Call of Duty.
You did the coffee today.
I did, yeah.
Coincidence?
I did do the coffee today. Hold on. Hold on. This has happened before. And second of all, is it not great now?
Yeah, it is. We figured it out.
Delicious.
It's delicious.
Anyway.
Call
Call
of
of Duty League.
Yeah.
Let's
Can't
just
have
talk
your
about...
water on the table on a coffee show.
I can, actually. I can. If Heck's going to have his water on a table during his podcast, I can have mine.
His podcast isn't about coffee.
I know. I'm thirsty. Do these people want to see me shrivel up and die in front of them? In front of their very eyes?
I'm saying after, when you finish drinking your water. When you finish drinking your water. Okay, so Call of Duty.
Call of Duty League. So
crazy stuff.
Kind of a crazy week. Obviously, the first week that
Very
we
crazy.
had seen Hook perform with LA Thieves, and it was his debut with them. It was also kind of an interesting tale of things in terms of the deciders for winner bracket and an elimination bracket.
It was a really intense week.
It was a really intense week. There's a three-way tie at one point. So there's a lot to talk about. And I think the first thing that comes just immediate to my mind, we should just talk about. We're not going to do this in any order in terms of the schedule.
The team schedule.
Let's just talk about OpTic. What happened with OpTic there and Faze? Because okay, so I'm going to drink my water when I ask you this question.
Yeah.
Because
I
have a lot.
Are you allowed to talk about this
in
depth? Okay.
Yeah, I'm allowed. Well, I mean, it's all over the TL, isn't
it?
Yeah.
So. Well, I just didn't know. I didn't know if you could give your thoughts, and it would just be me kind of thing.
Yeah, I can't really give too much of a thought on it, but I can talk about it.
Okay. I feel you.
So, obviously, what happened in terms of Faze and OpTic, this match was a deciding match as well. So OpTic had to win that 3-1 or 3-0.
Yeah.
In order to leapfrog over LA Thieves as well. And make the winners bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, they went 2-0 down, which I just kicked you under the table.
Sorry
about
Holy.
that. Sorry, hammer of Thor under
That's
the table.
Like. Jesus
Sorry. So they went 2-0 down, and from that point on, it was game over because even if they had won 3-2, it wouldn't have been enough in terms of the tiebreaker. It was just a disaster all round, wasn't it? There was all sorts of things happening. The gameplay that we were watching was just ridiculous. Dashy dropped 7 kills as an AR in a respawn, which is just
in the first
almost unheard of.
Yeah.
Envoy had the worst KD ratio of all time.
Apparently,
this
he had
season.
a 0.4. Did he actually have a 0.4?
I don't
Do you know?
I don't know.
That's what someone told me. So take it with a grain of salt. But that's what someone told me. So I think what A-Train told me. Although A-Train is a diehard OpTic fan, so A-Train, I know you're listening. I have faith that you're correct.
Yeah, I have faith in that as well.
Yeah.
And also A-Train. He's A-Train.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just wasn't good all round just from watching at the time. And then after the match, the timeline was just popping off and all sorts of things were happening and being talked about. And, obviously people were upset. There was talks about an email. There was talks about, the ping. There's talks about the server. There's talks about the host.
Apparently there was miscommunication and OpTic played Faze on on an Atlanta server, which is where they're at. So basically they were going up against a quad host, which is really rough, no doubt about it. I kind of said this, right? Because I talked about it on my stream today. Because, we always talk Call of Duty over there. But
naturally.
Huh?
Naturally.
Yeah. And I think that if I had known that OpTic was going to play Faze on their host, I'd pick Faze. I'll be like, oh, Faze is going to win that. You know what I mean? Come on. But I think the problem that people are having with it, the ping difference is 11 to 30, which, don't get me wrong, on a quad host, it's going to be rough. But is an excuse to get 7 kills? No, it's not. I'm sorry. It just isn't. I mean, I know you haven't competed on LAN, obviously, but 11 ping, 11 9 ping, whatever they're on, is close to LAN. 30 isn't. 30's it's so hard to say because I get it. You're gonna have a hard match. I don't think you're gonna win, but there's clearly, when you get blown out like that, the way that they did, because it wasn't close. Not one game was close, and when you get blown out the way they did, I'm not sold on it just being a connection issue. I think that's a factor in why you lost somewhat, but let's be honest, you got 100-point club in the hard point. Search was 6-2 or something, not close. 3-0 control, right?
Yeah.
When I
well, Scump had tweeted and he did say that it wasn't 1,000% wasn't why they lost.
Yeah, exactly. But they're making it
the rest of yeah. Okay.
The problem is they're making it such a big deal, which like I get, because I get why it's so frustrating, and it was a do or die kind of match.
Yeah.
Somewhat do or die, because obviously you still make the major, but it's make winners bracket, and that happened. But like clearly, you get beat by NYSL. You lost to LA Thieves, and now LA Thieves have only improved. You lose to NYSL, and now you go against Faze. Like, I get it. I get the frustration. I just think that, like, there comes a point in time in a team's lifespan where it just happened at a wrong time for them. Because I feel like I'll be honest, I think they're already making a lot of excuses as to why things are going so bad and, yada, yada, yada. And I love OpTic. I actually really want to see OpTic win.
Honestly,
so
I think a lot of us
I say it from a place of love
because
because I've played for them and I love Hex and I hope they win. But like, I'll just be honest, they make a lot of excuses as to what's happening. And my biggest hope for them, obviously a LAN event is announced now. My biggest hope for them is they're going to go to a LAN event and they're going to win. But I'd be lying to you if I told you I believe that they're going to win it.
Yeah.
Let alone this major. This major, I think it's completely chalked up. Unless they catch fire in the losers bracket, I don't see it happening. I just see a lot of fundamental issues. And this is part of the problem. When you go back to like week 1, I was telling you about this, right?
Yeah.
Dashy, all the talent in the world that kid's got, but he ran his mouth a little bit.
Yeah.
When OpTic was the best team heading into the first week, they were over there talking about Texas and beating everyone and everything's so good. And then now they start losing, and all of a sudden, Dash has had 2 stages now where I think he's really underperformed, this being one of them. And then, was it stage 2 that he was really struggling a little bit? And then he turned it around.
Yeah.
I think it was stage 2. And, like if you're going to talk a big game, you got to back it up.
Yeah.
That's it.
I just think right now, I feel like Dashy is extremely talented. Don't get me wrong, he is extremely talented.
I think it's mental, personally.
I just think at the moment he looks a little bit lost on the map. Like when I'm watching him play and stuff, I feel like he's a little bit lost. Listening to the Astro listening as well, I feel like if I'm being really picky, I hear him
not happy with the comms,
repeating stuff that people are calling out.
Yeah.
Rather than giving his own organic calls or anything else that might be helpful. And that's not the entirety of the comms. Like I get a snippet. But like, yeah, I just felt like he was a little bit lost, and I feel like they were all a little bit like lost lambs on there. And I think he was the most lost. I can't really comment on this just because of my role and stuff, but I can give you the questions. What did you make of, about the whole host setting and the email that was, potentially wrong?
I think it came at a really bad time. And
then also the fact that apparently they knew about it before they played the match.
So I think this whole thing came at a very bad time for them because it was a win or lose match, and I'll be like, I kind of already said, they've been making excuses the whole way through. And I have a heart with the excuses thing. I can't say enough how bad I want to see them do really well, because it just, I hate sounding like a hater, but I want to see them win, so I'm never coming from a bad place, but it's pretty obvious when stuff is going wrong, because if you're complaining at the start of the year and you complain through the whole year, like, fair enough, you haven't been happy from the start, but like, you would agree at the start of the year they're the best team in the game, arguably, with Faze. I think they were right there with Faze at the start. They were talking their trash.
100%. I had them to win the first major.
I did too. And, Formal and everyone, they're talking about Texas and how good it is and all this stuff. And then now it's kind of like flipped a little bit of like, oh, can't wait for LAN. And like, I know that everyone's excited for LAN, obviously, because who wouldn't be? But, I just think this whole ping thing came at the worst time because they've already been making those excuses. They haven't been on the same page, and they've said that, like, they're not making so many excuses. Scump has said he thinks that Formal and Dash need to play a certain way, and they've admitted to it. Like, it's not, I don't think they're just solely chalking it up to LAN by any means. So to their credit, it's not like they are, know?
Do you think based on what Scump was saying, do you think that Formal and Dash do need to play more ratty? Because this was said in I think it was the OpTic pre-show, right? Yeah,
it was in the OpTic pre-show. I don't know. I really don't know, because like I think their pushes are just terrible. I watched like shout out to Nameless. You know, he's obviously an analyst on the desk. I watched like a segment he did. It's a series he's doing called The Breakdown.
Yeah, where he broke down
OpTic.
hardpoint.
And it's funny.
Yeah,
I literally remember seeing it in game, and I knew what he was going to talk about. And he broke down their Moscow hardpoint, and it, like what he was saying was so true. Is like, you know, in Cold War, you really have to hit multiple angles, and you're sliding in and out, and you're doing, you know, like it's a constant thing. But with OpTic, like they're like all hitting one side, and when they're all hitting one side, like in this specific example, and look, I'm not a pro player, so maybe there's a reason why they did what they did. I don't know, but I quite literally watched Clay, because it was on Clay's POV at the time. I watched Clay push through mid, nobody's mid, and I guarantee you his comms were like, they all have to be here, and you see every person on the mini map just turn. They melt them down the street. They were coming from bus. I don't know what you call it, but bus street on Moscow.
Yeah.
Coming down to P3. Mm-hmm. And they get melted. Clay then goes on a rotation, kills them, like comes behind them, all spawn. So Nameless did a really good breakdown of it. For a team that was supposed to be the best hardpoint team in the game heading into it, like it's just an adapting thing that's been a big problem, and I don't think gunfights necessarily is going to be gunfights because of ping being better is going to be the sole fix. So it came at a really bad time for them, because it's been a consistent trend, and I said this to you, they had it in their back pocket. Like they knew, apparently, I don't know, this is what I make of it, they knew, right?
Yeah, apparently.
They knew before the match that this was going to be a thing. I would have said it right before the match.
Well, you would think most people would if they had a problem with it.
If you had a problem with it, because they didn't, and then they tweeted their GGs, and then after the fact, they, you know, like were tweeting about it. Yeah. And Envoy went on the flank, shout out Zuma, went on the flank, and apparently said it was his fault on why this happened, which then I see Dashy's tweets about something about the ref must have been dapping up Faze, or must have been fist bumping Banks and throwing up the Faze up, and it's like, why are you then? Why I don't know the context. So full disclosure,
there's different stories. There's different players.
Exactly. Yeah. Like Envoy says it's his fault. Dashy's blaming the ref.
Scum is 100% not the reason that they lost.
Scum says it's not the reason they lost. Yeah, Formal didn't really say it was the reason. He just said it kind of sucks, kind of thing.
Yeah, he said it's unacceptable, which it is unacceptable.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm nervous for them. Because can you make a roster change after the LAN? Do you have any idea of that?
I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, I know, and I don't want to put you in a position you don't have to say or guess, but I'm nervous because I think they have to make it work. If they go to the LAN and don't do well, make a roster change.
Yeah.
Unless they for some reason think they're going to pull it together, because I think they have the talent to pull it together. You're not talking about a team that is lacking talent.
No,
by any means.
They're an incredibly talented team, and actually something that we were talking about in the green room was about what their major's going to look like. Yeah. And obviously they're in the elimination bracket now, and they're waiting in round 2 because at least they did have a fairly decent go in the elimination bracket in terms of seeding. So at least they are waiting the wings to play the team that bumps up from round 1.
They had a rough 2 weeks basically.
They did. So they're either going to be playing LAG or Surge. And honestly, I personally wouldn't want to play LAG out of the two. Like, I think that would be, my first choice would probably be Surge, and I think that's obvious just because Surge literally cannot win a control to save their lives.
Their hardpoint also is really bad.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a shambles this week, but their control consistently has been terrible, which is not really the consistent I'm looking for. However, just really quickly before we move on into the bracket, just want to give a massive shout out to Nameless. Incredible analyst. His YouTube channel is wicked. He streams. So if you guys, kind of want to understand like what we're talking about a little bit further, he breaks down so many incredible things like on a weekly basis. Yeah. So if you want to understand things further, go and check him out.
Absolutely. I think Zuma's show that he's been doing, the flank, it's really good. It gives player insight, which I think is always cool.
Yeah, and it's really fun.
And it's fun.
Zuma's podcast is wicked as well. The flank, absolutely incredible too. Brings on so many different pro players and points of views immediately after games. He's streaming constantly throughout the CDL week, like directly after the matches. So super, super cool. 2 channels to definitely check out, guys.
I'm so like heartbroken over this. Like I just like...
Your heart's bleeding green.
Yeah, like it really, because I feel so bad now, and I root for a lot of teams. Like I'm not like solely OG, but I do want to see them do really well. Like I'm pumped when they're winning. I'm like pumped.
Yeah.
And now like I don't mind like if they lose some matches or whatever. Like I'm not a diehard fan where I'm like super sweating it, But when it's like this, like they're starting to losers bracket, I'm just like, oh my god, you know,
Yeah.
like because I root for them, but they're making it tough. And not just them. Like I just feel bad for what's happening because I know they're trying. It's not like they're not trying to figure it out. But I don't know.
How do you think OpTic will do in the state that they're in at the moment? If obviously, like looking at the winners bracket, depending on who wins what, gets bumped down to elimination.
Yeah.
So obviously they could be meeting Faze or Empire here.
Yeah, I don't think
like, that's terrifying.
I don't think they. Is that who they play? They play Empire or Faze?
Potentially, yeah, I think so.
Right.
I think
so
with how the bracket works, I'm pretty sure.
It's tough because I'm not 100% on Empire right now either.
You think OpTic can beat Empire though? At the moment?
I think they could. I don't see them beating anyone in the top 4. Like, I don't see them beating Ultra, NYSL, or FaZe. And even, like, LA Thieves. I don't know if they even beat LA Thieves right now. And Florida's looking really good, too. Empire is a little shaky to me. I see them winning round 2. You know, like, look, I think that they can beat LAG or Surge, the other team. I can see them beating that team. My only hope for them is they're going to, like, catch a little bit, you know, maybe, like, catch a dub, and then maybe they get a little bit of rhythm.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if they play
100%.
Empire...
Well, they did catch a dub going into the major, which is nice.
Hmm?
They've caught a dub going into the major.
OpTic?
No, sorry, Empire.
No, yeah. So I'm talking about OpTic.
I
No,
you.
yeah. So
I thought you were talking about Empire.
I think Empire's going to lose to FaZe. Like, I don't think Empire's going to beat FaZe.
Right.
But which we'll talk about in a minute. But with OpTic, I could see them winning their own 2 if they play Empire. I could see them beating Empire because I just think they need a little bit. It's been such.
So you can see OpTic beating Empire.
Yeah, I can because I don't think Empire. We'll see. Like, I think Empire might still be stronger than them, but you just gotta wait and see. You know, because it's not the OpTic team. It's not that they're not capable.
Yeah.
But the problem is the only reason why I could see them beating Empire is my hope is they're gonna win round 2, and then like they're gonna get a little bit of their swagger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of like let's get it going because I think part of the problem is they got really kind of knocked out of the top 4, and they're just trying to find themselves of where they're at. You know, and figure out their gameplay and. They don't look good, but maybe a win will bring it back. I think Dashi really has a hard time locking it in.
Well, I think personally, like adding on to what you said there, I just think honestly it's as simple as they cannot find something that's working right now.
Like they can't catch their rhythm.
I mean, you literally saw them try and change the meta because they were like, this isn't working. We've got to try something new. So like they are literally trying everything that they can to change something to make it work, and they still haven't found that. And that is a big problem because I also feel like quite a mental team too.
Yeah.
And right now they're really down. And obviously they just did not have the kind of the welcoming into the major that they wanted in their final match. And I think it's kind of, you know, it's disheartening to them. So the fact that they're trying so hard and nothing is working, heading into major 3, it does weigh you down. So it's going to be really, really rough. But moving on from this topic, I want to ask you about LA Thieves and Empire in particular, because obviously seeing Hook play for the first time with LA Thieves this week was pretty awesome. But I do want to ask you a couple questions about it, because something that I did notice is that Hook, obviously incredible player, absolutely amazing, probably the most sought after at the moment, most talked about. I felt like when I watched him, I felt like he didn't play his life very well.
Yeah, I agree.
And he was quite risky, quite a dangerous player, which it sometimes does pull off, but sometimes it really doesn't. And I can see it affecting the entirety of the game.
Yeah.
Do you think the way he plays like that kind of fed into maybe what wasn't clicking for some of the Empire roster, which has led to him being benched? Yeah,
probably. I think they probably just got super. I think Empire made a really quick decision. Is what I think. I think they were really. They're coming off winning champs, and they're playing Cold War, and things aren't going the right way. And it could, you know, it's wearing them down. You know, and it did. It wore them down to the point where they thought they needed to make a roster change. I don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, those guys are winners, and I assume they probably know better than me, right? I think that at the end of the day, I think replacing Hugh is one of the silliest moves ever. And I 100% agree with what you said. Really great point. He doesn't play his life enough. And when you saw him on LA Thieves, I think he gets a little bit extra screen time, especially because it's a big matchup. It's a big matchup.
Of course
his first time. Yeah. And you kind of saw the flaws of like, he's gunning people down. He's getting crazy 2 pieces, even 3 pieces. And then he's like over challenging a little bit. But that's like, you just got to get him to reel it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Which for someone that capable, it's going to happen. Or it can happen. I don't know him as much as I did a couple years ago when he was in Halo, but he doesn't strike me as the person that's just super, no, forget what you're saying, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Well, he certainly doesn't strike me as that person either.
Yeah.
I think maybe, such a small amount of time coming into that week and maybe not being able to put elements into practice that they would have liked to.
You're trying to do too much.
Far. I think maybe they literally turn around to him and just were like, "Yo,
do whatever you want.
Just go off, man.
Yeah.
Like, do whatever. Just have fun with it." And I don't know. Maybe that's what happened.
You think that so they played NYSL. It's the only match that they had.
Yeah.
NYSL looked great.
Amazing. Their hardpoint is a joke.
Yeah, they played pretty good though against NYSL.
Yeah, they did. It wasn't super easy.
It wasn't super easy, but it was like, I think Maven and Merc said it. It just felt like a heavyweight match of like back and forth. Like, they're getting slays, they're getting slays. It goes round 11 on the S&D. You think LA Thieves is a threat heading into these majors? Not necessarily this one, but like just going forward.
I definitely do.
Yeah.
I think if they can find a groove with this current roster and they can make something work, and Kenny and Hoot can kind of play off one another as AR, as sub, I think it would be a really cool dynamic roster. And I think that they would have something that other people don't.
Yeah.
Because I think all the time you hear about like SMG duos, and obviously that is just the meta. That's just how the game works. But I think what LA Thieves might have is a little bit more unique than that. Just based upon like the vibes. So like Kenny always talks about vibes, and I know it sounds a bit cheesy.
Yeah.
But it's quite clearly what drives this team is like feeling good about what they're doing, having fun.
Yeah.
Feeling like the team are all on the same page. I don't feel like they were on the same page yet. I think that's kind of fundamentally maybe where they went wrong there. But the fact that they could get that close to NYSL, who have really come a long way with this team, who have been like shining this team up, buffing them up, really working on major things coming into this next major and throughout stage 3, and I've really got it down now. Like their respawns are looking gold and they're looking damn strong, and a brand new team with a roster change, who kind of, let's be honest, also brought in Drazzer and Venom not that long ago either, who have constantly been changing it up,
been improving.
The fact that they're able to deliver that type of gameplay, that back and forth gameplay, that close match is really impressive to me. And I do think that Kenny and Hook as like a little duo in terms of AR and sub would be really, really cool to watch. I think if Kenny can like open lanes for him, and then Hook can do what he does best, get those 3 pieces, and then reel it back in again when he needs to, I think that would be a perfect storm.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll remember this specific thing, because the match, there's a lot of matches. There's this 3-piece that Hook got on raid control.
Yeah, I know
he gets
exactly
a 3-piece,
what you're
and then he overchallenged for the 4th. But when he got that 3-piece, I was like, this is literally why he's on your team. Because like plays like that, I mean, Jesus, and that's why we'll see what happens. But I think they're gonna be a tough team no matter what, where they're placed between Faze, Ultra, NYSL right now. But I mean, they only improved. I'll be honest, they only improved.
I think Hook was just a little over hungry.
Yeah.
I think that's all it is, honestly.
They
on that
didn't get a lot
matchup,
of practice either.
I think the over challenging and stuff, and like not playing his life, just comes from the fact that it was just like, look, he's a young guy, he's accomplished. The past couple of weeks for him, all you can do is see his name everywhere. Like it's been so pinpointed on him, the spotlight.
Small amount of practice too.
Yeah, small amount of practice. And it's almost like, in that case, because you haven't got something to really put down, you haven't got a lot to kind of, I don't know, put in your back pocket in terms of strength.
Trying to drop 50.
You just got to go off, man. And like kind of that's probably what they said to him. Look, you're going to be feeling good. Go off, man. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if coming back into this major now, the past couple of days, the past week, I'm sure they're grinding really, really hard right now in order to make sure that they have the best chance this major, because I see them potentially getting, I see them having the rematch with New York. I see them potentially.
You see them beating Florida.
I do. Yeah.
Florida's been looking good.
They have, but the problem with Florida is they're super inconsistent.
Yeah.
So one week they're really good, one match they're terrible. If you literally look at their match record on the graphics we have, it shows like the win-loss, and it's quite well highlighted. It's like a checkerboard. It's so on and off.
Randomly 3-0
One time,
Empire,
yeah.
and then the next time you're losing.
Looking unbelievable with Empire. Their hard points on checkmate are looking unreal. So many gorgeous layers to this hard point that you cannot get through. You cannot break the hill, right? Unreal, gunning everyone, like pinpoint. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then the next week, suddenly it's just falling apart. It's bizarre, but I mean that's literally been the season.
Any take on why?
I think honestly,
young.
I don't know,
because they're a young team.
It's really rough.
I don't know how old Havoc is. Neptune's young.
They're all
Awakening's
pretty young.
new into it.
Havoc's fairly young. He's still in his early 20s.
Yeah.
I would say Awakening and Skies have to be on point.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
I feel like as soon as Awakening and Skies align, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It seems to be the most kind of like sense, I don't know, I guess like makes the most sense, because it's really hard to see sometimes inconsistencies like that and what is noticeable and what isn't. But that to me is the only kind of like tell.
I think you're
choked.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
I think you're 100% right, because to your credit, they've really never gone off at the same time. It's always been like Awakening goes off one week and they have a really close match. But Skies does terrible. And back then it was Skies and Slacked did, let's be honest, terrible.
Yeah.
And then like the next week, Skies has a really good week, but Awakening does okay.
He's pretty damn good.
He's pretty consistent, but like, you know, it mainly comes down to Skies. And I feel like he's actually getting really, really consistent now. Like I think he's slowly getting there to his consistent self, because Florida back in MW, Skies and Awakening were the best slayers in the league. Remember we talked about that? You know, they were the best slayers in the league. But they in this year just haven't been able to consistently do it as a duo. Awakening is really consistent, but I still think even him sometimes just not. You know?
I mean, I think it does come down to that, and we've said it before about how, you know, we have hot and cold players, and what would happen if everyone was playing their best on the day and stuff like that. And honestly, I just think it's funny. I actually said this in a round table, but that's literally just come out on Call of Duty League, funny enough. We were talking about Ultra and about their success and kind of like, why? How? Why?
Yeah.
Why did this suddenly the stars aligned, the sun came out, and it was like, oh my God, this is a different team. Completely. I mean, look at their record before, and they're 5-0 stage 2. What
Major
the hell?
Hit, and all of a sudden, boom.
Pushed Faze to second seed. I mean, so it was funny that
seed?
It's funny. Yeah. Well, yeah. Faze didn't get. Yeah, they came second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in their group.
I was thinking because of Phaser first and seed like points, right?
Yeah.
That's why I got confused. Yeah. I was like, whoa, they caught up that fast.
Second,
but
because they're not in round 2 of winners bracket either.
Yeah.
But it was funny that we've spoken previously hypothetical, because I love when stories come around full circle. It's like my favorite thing as a broadcaster as well. It just makes me so happy. I literally said in the round table, which I don't think Maven really understood when I said it, but it's okay, whatever. I'll explain it here with you guys. I said before to you, and I've said it on the show as well, what would happen hypothetically if every single player on a team was to play their best every single match?
Yeah, I remember that.
Ultra.
You're watching it.
That is what happens. So like every single player on Ultra right now is playing out their damn mind.
Yeah.
Not one of them is slacking. Not one of them is not doing their job. And not one of them is like not doing well on KDs at all. Their stats are incredible. They're all doing their jobs perfectly. They're playing every single map. They have a really nice deep map pool. They've expanded it to the high heavens.
And they're clutching up.
And they're clutching when they need to. That is what happens when every single player is playing like to their potential. That is what happens. Unreal, like unbelievable. But that's what I'm saying is like now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best team that we have in the league hypothetically. So right now they are 100%. I don't know if you can question it, because they are. But if FaZe were to do that and every single player on FaZe to play to their potential, I think they might leapfrog Ultra.
Oh yeah, I think Faze is one of the most talented rosters. Like I don't think
Exactly,
it's even...
but the problem is they're just not. Like
No, yeah,
there's
they're just
always
not clicking.
some kind of little
Yeah,
some
it
kind of little
happens.
thing
Happens
that's
all the
just
time.
pushes teams back, and I think it just happens on a weekly basis.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If NYSL win this major, because I think there's a chance.
Yeah, I think there is a chance too.
If they win this major, would you say they're the best team?
I wouldn't say that they are the best team,
Beat Faze.
but I would say that they have the potential to be.
Yeah.
Because
But would you say like
for me,
best team right now? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Because like
I'd have
with
to-
Hydra coming in, their first match with Hydra, they beat Faze. Then they lost their next one. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100%.
Okay, I think it honestly depends on like what happens in the
What
major.
happens? Like, how
Because,
good are they?
Because like if they get to the final, obviously it's a best of 9 final, and it comes down to literally the last game.
Yeah.
And it's like round 11.
An Ultra win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And whatever. I think
Or
it's
Faze win even.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Faze or New York win. I think it's really hard to tell because I think it's situational at that
Yeah.
point. I think when we looked at the first major and Faze won the first major, and the scoreline of that best of 9 was so unfun for everyone watching. Like there was no competition. You could not deny that Faze were the best in the league by a mile at that point because of the score and the way that they had that journey in the major and the stage. So I think if New York win this and they go all the way, depending on the journey that they take, depending if they have a smoke show on every single match, depends on what I think in terms of like how good they are and how they stack up compared to other teams. And I'll tell you why. It's because there's no consistency.
Yeah.
So like I think for me to think or recognize you are a top team or you are the best team we have right now, I feel like I need to see consistency.
If Faze win it, they're the best team again.
I think if
You have to.
I think
They won the first one, they got
I think
second, and they win it again.
If Faze win
NYSL
it,
a little
based on
different,
their
though.
record being
Yeah.
4-1. It's a 4-1, 3-1.
Yeah.
4-1. 4-1. Based on that
With
record to
NYSL
me,
being their only loss.
exactly.
Game
Then I
5.
would say that they are the best in the team,
Yeah.
best in the league. Sorry, because of the consistency there. And I think if New York win this, and then they go on to have an epic stage 4,
Yeah.
then I would say yeah they are. It's like
That's kind of what happened with
because I
Ultra.
wouldn't last major when Ultra won.
You wouldn't say they're the best.
I would not have said
Yeah.
that they're best
No,
team in
I
the league.
agree.
They're not. I wouldn't have said that.
I agree.
But I think it's strange because it's like major is the ultimate thing
Yeah.
to represent
Well,
like who
the
wins
only-
that stage. It's hard though.
The only reason why it's interesting and why I wanted your opinion on it is because Ultra, I just feel like it came out of nowhere. Like Ultra just like was kind of like bottom tier in the league overall. Major happened and they beat everyone, and you're like, what the hell? But you wouldn't put them above. You wouldn't rank them above Faze still. And then now they went undefeated in their group, and you're like, okay, I think they are the best team now. Especially looking like Faze is struggling a little bit. But with NYSL, the reason why I asked that is because they bring on Hydra. They beat Faze. I can't remember. I swear they lost, but I don't remember.
Paco looks great, by the way.
Yeah.
Great fit.
Oh yeah, he's slaying out. And I know I do this all the time. They played.
What are you trying to say?
They beat Faze 3-2.
Yeah.
Their very next match, did they win or lose? Like oh man, because I wasn't prepared to talk about this, and now I can't remember. There's so many matches. It doesn't matter. But anyway.
Wasn't it OpTic?
No, that was this week.
Oh, wait. What week are you talking about?
I don't know. They played Faze with Hydra and they beat him, and then I swear they went to like either game 5 and it was really close, or they lost. But anyway, then they go and beat LA Thieves, right? Like with a hyped up Hue. Granted, I don't think LA Thieves are 100% yet, but if they go on to win it in a really like good fashion, I could say they're the best team. Because with Hydra, they go beat Faze right away, and then you go win the major right away. I mean, it's not like Ultra where you struggled for long periods of time and then you randomly won,
Yeah, 100%. So, which one are you talking about? You're talking about the week before, right?
Yeah, I think it might have been. I think it was the week before. Yeah.
Paris. Okay, so they played London and
they lost.
And
That's
they
what
lost
it was.
London.
They lost
Yes,
to
they
London.
lost to London 3-2, which was really surprising.
Beat Faze and they lose to London.
But this is what I'm talking about. This is the bleep this out shitstorm that can happen this season, right? Because
anything's possible.
It just is like, it doesn't make sense sometimes. Sometimes it just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and then my pick'ems are absolutely.
They beat Faze with their first series with Hydra, and you're like, oh shit. And then they lose to London.
That
and you're
control
like,
was the it was the game changer, and that S&D.
God, their hardpoint's so good though.
The hardpoint's insane.
I think they have a real good shot at winning it because of how good their hardpoint is, and I think their search is really solid too. I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like you could say a lot of teams would win it though.
Their search is really solid. I think obviously, what would you say about search? Okay, based on like what we've seen so far in the season and in the league, do you think people's searches are completely different based on who they're playing? Because like if you think about it, I know that obviously you have offense and defense, and there's strategic roles that you play depending on what side you're on at the time.
Yeah.
But like, for example, like the offense that you play or the defense that you play as a team, do you think that has any kind of like major effect on who you're playing?
Yeah,
like
100%.
Like what you guys are doing, like is it clashing with certain people? Like for example, what London does on S&D, is that just like completely comparable to like what LAG will do on S&D? So it's like they don't line up very well with London when it comes to S&D because their strats are just not working with what they do and what they like how they set up with the defense and stuff.
100%, because it could be either
but you can be amazing with everyone else, but there's that one team
it can be either you get countered because London, let's use London in this example.
Yeah.
You can get countered because maybe they did their research and they picked up on what you're doing and they read you like a book.
Yeah.
Or maybe they accidentally counter you to where they just do some kind of default strat that shuts you down. You know what I mean? Like they just do their random default, you go here, and accidentally it just happens to counter you. Absolutely. So like 100%, it's 100% a thing.
Yeah, maybe honestly at that point in time, just because of how good their hardpoint looked, even in those results, I mean it was like what 180 to 250 in some cases 160. But the fact that their hardpoint looks so good, the control's a little bit bitey. The fact it was a 3-0 to London, that's a bit bitey considering that's a respawn as well. And it's kind of like the love child of S&D and hardpoint kind of.
I think they kind of overlooked them a little bit on that one. Personally, you beat Faze, you go up against London, you're probably like, it's gonna be,
complacency. Never. Yeah. You cannot in this season, no matter who you're going up against. We've seen Surge be ridiculous at times. Some games. Yeah. You've been like, what the hell?
That's what I'm saying. Though. I think especially like, in online matches, I think it's difficult.
Surge can be an incredible team when they're all playing well. It's true. But you just can't. This league, you cannot be complacent with anyone. Every single team is capable of winning.
Yeah, I agree.
I swear to God.
Well, I mean, look at Ultra. I don't know what happened, but look at them.
Ultra were at the bottom of the damn pile.
Yeah.
And now they're 5-0 in stage 3.
Win the major, 5-0. But no, it could happen to anyone. You catch fire. Any other teams you want to talk about?
Just
Empire?
Trying to think.
Last topic, maybe? Empire?
Yeah. Empire. Let me just quickly get up this week because there was a game I really wanted to talk about. I just want to make sure I have the right score in my head as well. And it was against Mutineers, but I just want to double check.
How long have you been talking for?
I'm not sure, love.
God, it goes so quick.
I can tell you. $45 minutes.
Oh, okay. You feel this way? When we talk, I lose all sense of time.
Oh yeah, completely. As well. Yeah, it goes by like in a split second. Right, Dallas home series. They played the Mutineers. It's just the game I wanted to talk about, and Dallas got 3-0, right? I'm just opening up some of the results because I just want to see stuff. There was a particular moment I'd like to talk about. I'm pretty sure it happened in the control. Yeah, it did. So. Okay, so the results of if you didn't catch the game, Florida played Dallas in their home series. Again? Well, if you didn't catch the game, Florida.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's just how I heard it. It was like your accent came so heavy there. I feel like
it's just my voice.
Yeah, no, I don't know why. Like caught me off guard randomly.
So Florida played Dallas in their home series. Dallas got 3-0'd. The hard point went 230 to 198, which actually I think it's the stat is something ridiculous. Like out of 180 hard points we've had this season, there's only been 4 that have come down to the timer.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so this was one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
So only 4 have had the timer knocked off where they can't get 250.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is quite interesting. And it shows that it was a competitive game, despite what the score says here. So
it's pretty competitive.
Yeah, it's pretty competitive. It's pretty close. But Florida in S&D won 6-3, and then Control is what I want to talk about. So Dallas are now 2-0 down, heading into Checkmate Control. I mean, what else would it be? Checkmate Control. I mean, yeah. So it's what we see all the time.
Yeah.
And so at this point as a team, you know you have only one option here.
Yeah.
You're down bad. You have a reverse sweep, and that's it. So all you got to do, you can't make one more mistake on the maps, on the following 2 maps. It's going to be rough on the following 3 maps, technically, actually. So heading into this Control, as a veteran squad, as a veteran leader with Crim, like you need to be on your A game, working together as a team, as a machine to complete a reverse sweep. That's how it works. So I felt like the way that they were playing was rough. I feel like they were over challenging. They looked stressed out of their minds. The way they were playing was super like abrasive, chaotic. Yeah. They were flying at everything. They were playing way too fast. Way too fast. They were flying at everything. At some points, they were flying so hard with each other that 3 of them were getting mowed down at a time because they were literally just way too fast. There was no strategy whatsoever in that gameplay that I could see. None. And that was a big issue for me. Watching Dallas, who I feel like never play like that. Ever. Watching them, like the coin flip, and then actually pull something like that out when they needed it, I just felt like I was very worried about that. That made me really uneasy about this team heading into the major, because they made a roster change. Usually you make a roster change and it does benefit your team. This one was a very controversial roster change. Obviously bringing in Fellow, which, by the way, Fellow's been great.
I agree.
Fellow, and also Fellow has nothing to do in terms of why it's such a bad roster change, because he's a great player.
He's been doing great.
It's more so just about kind of just the dynamic of the team and letting a superstar go. Yeah. So I'm a little bit worried with what I'm seeing from Dallas. What do you think?
Well, before I give my thoughts, I want to get your opinion on this. Did you think that were you maybe less stressed about it watching them play against Minnesota? Like, did it ease your mind a little bit, feeling like, No,
I actually picked Minnesota to win in my pick'ems, and so did a lot of people.
Well, I don't blame you, but I'm saying like. Watching them beat Minnesota, where you kind of like, okay, like, because like losing them beat Florida, you're like, this is the worst move you've ever done. You look terrible. Like, you know what I mean? Like when they lose against Florida, you're like, everything's chalked at that point. Yeah. But then they beat Minnesota. Did that change your mind at all? Of like, maybe they're figuring it out?
Not really.
You can,
because, and I'll tell you why I didn't. Because first of all, the games are super close.
Yeah, they were.
I also think that it's kind of like a given that at some point in a team, this is what I would say, and you shouldn't have this mindset based upon like the fact that you're a pro gamer and you should know what you're getting into. But I do feel like Minnesota have this little tendency to think that they're coming up against a team who are down bad, and they're not, or they can't. Like I've said this about Dallas before. Dallas will make mistakes, but don't you dare think that they're going to make that again. So I am still worried about Dallas, but like I know that they would have stepped it up for this game. I know that they would have. Well, fundamentally,
we've said this about Dallas before. They a little bit play to the level of their competition.
Yes.
When we talked about them major time, this is with Hugh. But,
I agree. I agree, and I think that Rokkr, they did it with Mutineers, where Mutineers the day before were terrible, like horrendous. Got 3-0. Like, did they even show up to the game? And the next day, smoke show. Yeah. Minnesota lost. Yeah. And Rokkr were on an absolute tear as well. So I feel like Minnesota have a tendency to play down based upon like how teams have been doing recently, and it's something that I've seen a trend. It might not be true. Look, I might be talking absolute garbage, but this is what I'm seeing.
I think you notice it, whether or not it's what's happening.
I also think it's a mindset. I mean, I as an athlete, if I was a pro gamer, just based upon my mindset, I know that I would probably do that too. I'll play. They've been playing bad. Yeah, we're gonna be fine. Don't worry. It's gonna be fine. Just have fun.
Especially for league matches.
And I just, that's what I think. And I also think that I also think that teams also can take the liberty of finding a team that is down bad at the moment and then trying new stuff against them too. And I think that can come into play when you consider stuff like this as well. As long as you're on your A game by your major, and you think that you've done enough in that stage to get to a spot where you're happy with. Obviously, Rokkr are not happy with the spot that they're in right now. They're not in the winners bracket, which is not great. But at this point, there's not much that they can do about it. This matchup for me was really rough to watch, because this was a deciding match.
Yeah.
And I just it's hard. Like,
so it didn't change your opinion?
It didn't, I'm going in circles here. It didn't change my opinion on Empire just because of how close it was, but also it's really hard to explain. But when you just have a feeling, just based upon what you've been seeing recently, and I think that the way that I watched them play that control and just fall apart really made me nervous. Empire. Because I've never seen Empire play like that before. So that made me really nervous, because in all my viewing time in this season, I haven't seen Minnesota do that. I've never seen them do that with Standy. They've always kept composure and always played their game, and look, it might not have worked every single time.
They're Empire has lost a little bit of their consistency, basically. To be expected, I guess. But
I just saw them lose composure completely. And that was
terrifying.
I was
nervous. I thought they were gonna get reverse swept when they lost game 3. I was like, they're about to get reverse swept, because they are up 2-0 in the control, obviously, is what Lottie's referring to, and they lose the control 3-2, and you're like, oh man, here we go. And they were also playing a hard point that they've never played before. They scrimmed it, but league match wise, they've never played it before. Okay, so what was your question for me?
I can't remember.
Do you remember?
No.
I think it was just my opinion on Empire, right?
I don't think I even answered your question, but I just talked about what I think about both of these teams.
You answered it. I said, did them beating Minnesota change your opinion on them? Not really. And you said no.
Not really, because of two factors. Because of what I saw previously against Mutineers, and the fact the game was so close, and I felt like Minnesota had a certain mindset in their head when they went into that game. And I think it played an effect of why they lost. That's what I'm saying.
Why do you think Minnesota, to you saying that about yourself, if you think Minnesota had that mindset, do you think that's really bad?
Yeah, I do.
Because it was a winner take all. You make the winners bracket here if you win this. So to come out with the mindset like you're talking about, I mean, that's pretty poor. I mean,
look, like I said, I could be talking garbage about this mindset thing, because I don't know. But I'm just saying what I'm seeing in trends and what I feel I'm seeing. Because this is the problem with the season. It's so up and down like a roller coaster that you can only do what you think in your head. You can there's only so much that it comes down to in terms of common sense. You just think about, okay, why would this happen? This is weird. Do you know what I mean? So I think it was just a natural thing. I don't think it was because they didn't want to win. I think they wanted to win based on the score and stuff.
Can I give you my take a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
I somewhat feel better about Empire because they beat Rokkr, but can I give you my honest take?
I'd love it, yeah.
I don't think Rokkr is very good anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're kind of fading. I think they had their honeymoon stage, and I think they're just kind of fading off like most teams do. Just haven't been very impressed.
Yeah, I see that. But I do think they could be on a come up. I think that they might have a revamp happening.
You think so? With the same team?
See, I really see Rokkr potentially at some point winning a major, even with this team.
I don't.
Really?
No,
I do.
I don't. I think last major was their shot, and I think they missed it. I think they could. I think they have solid.
I don't think they were ready enough for last major.
Yeah, maybe, but when you're honeymooning and you beat OpTic and they were literally on fire heading into it.
In a best of 9, honeymoon ain't going to carry you across the best of 9.
Look at it. Look at Ultra. Are you kidding me? That was all. It wasn't honeymooning. They were on fire though, which is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they had a momentum run, but I think
I'd say it's the same thing. Honeymooning and being on fire. It's
because you have so many maps to play, and at that point, I feel like you need to be prepared. You need to have an expanded map pool to be able to go across the best of 9.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong, but I think that the honeymoon stage just makes you, it's just it's the same thing as Ultra wasn't in the honeymoon because obviously they've been teaming and didn't when they picked up Insight, it didn't immediately equal wins for them, but when they caught fire, that's literally to me the equivalent of honeymooning because you're just on fire all the time. I could be wrong about them. It's not like they're not capable, which you could say about pretty much every team what we're talking about. But I just think they didn't even beat Dallas last major. And then Dallas made a change because of how bad they thought that they were doing. You know what I mean? Bless you.
Sorry, everyone. It's my allergies.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Like they didn't even beat Dallas, and Dallas made a change. Whether or not it's for the better, I don't think it's for the better, but I think that's how far ahead Faze and Ultra really kind of seem to be.
Yeah.
Now Ultra, it's funny saying that, but I'm not impressed with Dallas. We'll see what happens with it. I did feel a little bit better about their win. I thought they looked better, but at the same time, I don't think Rokkr is that good. So.
I have faith because I've seen what this team can do. I do think there is hot and cold players
Rokkr?
On this roster. Yeah. I do think there's hot and cold players on this roster that if they can start to perform consistently individually, I think that we're going to be okay. Well, I say we. I'm not from Minnesota. However, I do think that they're going to be okay, and I'll tell you why. Think about it this way, because if you're thinking of comparing Ultra, okay, sorry, I'm really sniffling now because my allergies are just sneezed. If you're thinking about Ultra and comparing them, so think about it this way: when Ultra brought on Insight, nothing changed.
Mm-hmm.
They barely even honeymooned.
Yeah.
Did they? No, not really. Nothing really. They didn't win the first debut. It just wasn't fantastic for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You have to work out kinks in your team in order to become better. Look, they might be going through a rough patch where things are just there's silly little mistakes that they're making that they can fix, because I think that this is a really good team. I do. I see it. When I see them play, I see flashes of brilliance, and then suddenly they get counted in certain areas. And I think that they can do this at some point. I think obviously we're over halfway through the season. They need to do it fast, but I think that they can do it. I do.
I don't disagree with you.
Do you know what I mean?
I do. I don't disagree
because
with you.
Ultra figured it out.
I think I don't disagree with you. I think you can just say that about a lot of teams. Because when I go back to Rokkr and they were like, oh, they look so good into the major. When you really think about it, they did look really good going to the major. Their honeymoon and they pick up Standy, right? But when you really think about it, they beat OpTic, right? At the time, we didn't realize OpTic was starting to fall off the wagon of how good they really are.
It was a very interesting circumstance.
And then they beat. Because they 3-0'd them.
What?
What do you mean the way they won? Because they 3-0'd them.
Wait, who are you talking about now?
Go back to Rokkr. Go back to Rokkr last major. Before the major. They pick up Standy, right? They 3-0 OpTic. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They 3-0 OpTic.
Wait, that wasn't the circumstance with the S&D, was it? No, it wasn't.
That's in the major.
Oh,
that's in the major they beat OpTic.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Think about when they beat...
Didn't they go to... Wasn't it a game 5 S&D?
Yeah, it's game 5, round 11.
I thought you said 3-0'd them.
Babe, I'm talking about.
Sorry,
I'm talking about when they picked up Standy, their very first match versus OpTic.
Sorry.
The Standy hype train starts happening.
3-0 on the debut honeymoon. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I believe they beat Empire too in that same pool. I'm pretty sure.
They did.
They beat Empire. But then when they go into the major, they have a really close series with Empire. They go game 5, and then the way they beat OpTic in that scenario, when you really think about it, they had a good tournament, a good major, but they actually weren't. I just don't think they're as good as everyone thought. That's just my take. I don't know.
I thought they were great.
I thought they were good. I thought they're good. I just don't think that they're winning a major. Not right now, at least. Which is why I think that the Empire win, I'm kind of I don't know how to feel about it because I just don't think that Rokkr is particularly strong at the moment.
Yeah.
Heading into the major, I think that they started slacking.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they are due a revamp in terms of their strats and what they're doing and making sure that they can fix their mistakes. But I do see them as a level-headed team.
I do agree with you I think that they are a very solid based team that can reel it in to be really good. So I agree with you on that. I do.
That's where my hope comes in terms of what I'm saying here. I don't think there's anything else really to say about the major and the bracket and stuff like that. I mean, I know, I just have a weird feeling this is going to be a great major.
I agree.
Last major was wicked. I think this major is going to be even better.
I agree.
I think it's going to be so fierce, the competition. The fact that we're seeing such a mixed bag of what has been going on this season, and if you literally compare the bracket, the start of the bracket of this major compared to the first one, it's just totally different, which I think is wicked. I think that's really cool, and I think the level of competition is super high. So really excited. Let us know your thoughts on the major and what you thought about the Dallas home series. Let us know what you think about some of our opinions, because I mean, PJ and I have slightly differing opinions, but we can both see kind of the light at the end of the tunnel in both of them. But it's just fun to discuss, and we want to know what you guys think. I love reading the comments. However, we'll move on from Call of Duty League, even though honestly I could talk about it all day.
I think this is most teams heading into a major that can win. We're closing out, but that's my last comment 100%. On it. I think that this is probably
I mean, the fact that we on broadcast, one of my ending things on the broadcast was, who is going to be the Toronto Ultra of this major?
Yeah.
Because that's a genuine valid point.
NYSL can win, LA Thieves can win. Like,
100%.
It's crazy. I can't wait.
Me too. I can't wait either. So we are getting there on time, I'm pretty sure. So we'll just talk about a little something at the end, obviously, as we normally do, just to chill. So
kick the feet up.
Oh my God, I can't even move my legs. We've been working out recently, guys, in our home gym with our friends Matt and Justin, and it's been so fun. But my God, my body's broken. It is broken. You've been joining in. I've been joining in with the lads. We've been working out for
a while, but like shoot what you're
I've
saying.
I've been doing it not with. I've just been doing it on my own or with you.
And you joining with the boys.
Yeah, been lifting heavy lifting, man. Yeah. God, I'm aching. I'm sore, man. So something that has been circling around. We're kind of a little late on the train, but we don't really care. Like, do we? Do we care if we're really like staying super relevant on something?
I mean, we don't, but I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what you're going to. You just got to like. You're like, do we care? I don't know. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Do I care? Like,
what I'm saying is, like, you know, when something crazy happens,
we're not hype. We're not like right.
No, press record.
No,
we got to talk about it.
Yeah, we don't really.
You know, it's just like, okay, we'll just chill. We'll just chat with you guys. Esports qualifications. Apparently that's the thing.
I forgot.
So yeah, we did see it when it happened, and it's, you know, ECI, and
what's Esports Certificate Institute. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just gonna say this about it for me at the moment, because it's a little awkward, because I know some people who are on smack the mic.
What's the board?
On the board, I know a couple of people on the board who actually I really care about and I like. But I just don't get it. I just don't see a sense in this at all. I really don't. I appreciate the idea, because I understand like what the message is. So like, I'm going to give it, I'm going to be a devil's advocate. I'm going to be like, good cop and bad cop. Because you know
how I feel about it.
Yeah. I'm going to be, and trust me, I know how I feel about it. No. Truly. But I'll tell you the pros and cons of what I think, and the good and the bad with both of it. I appreciate the message. I appreciate the potential reasoning behind it. Okay. So if I have this right, they're trying to like help a lot of people who really don't know where to start, where to begin, how to get into this industry. Because let's be honest, it's an incredible industry. It's a booming industry.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people trying to get in and don't know how. I mean, it's actually a question I regularly have. Apart from asking if I have OnlyFans in my requested DMs. So like, I would say it's number 2 in my DMs is, you know, how do I get into this?
Yeah. Which is really cool.
Yeah, which I love.
Not the OnlyFans thing, but
that's really cool.
Just people asking you how to jump in. By the way, if you even are
trying to think in your head whether or not I have OnlyFans, leave. You shouldn't be here. So
it's cool that people are asking you.
Yeah, it's cool. And I think that perspective of potentially maybe what this is trying to do for people is a nice thing. Okay, and I like that, and I like the message, and I get it, because it is hard to get into, and I do understand. However, upon reading about it, upon actually looking at material based on this qualification, the exam, dear Lord, I feel like it is way out of the park. Like, that to me, like what I saw, like the questions, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Because
a couple of the questions we read together about it were just ridiculous. They
are just ridiculous. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I couldn't tell you that you would have to have that qualification in order to come and interview for a job. Like, say I owned an org. Say 2xthegrind. Say we're getting into Valorant. Say we're getting into
the Valorant question. Something. It was like a median of kills, and it was like, oh my God.
Say we're getting into something. It's 2xthegrind org. Plus, who would want a jersey, folks? Anyone want a jersey?
I want one.
I want one as well. Right, we're getting into the
Yeah.
esports space, right? Me and you, flipping, yeah, let's go.
We're looking for people to hire.
We're looking for people to hire,
Yeah.
right? We're looking for managers, we're looking for all sorts of talent, I don't know, whoever. There is no way in hell I am going to be like, I'm sorry, but you need an esports qualification, and that means something to me.
Yeah.
Because I would look at that and be like, well, you just revised. Like, first of all, the questions are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they were so out of the ballpark, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just bizarre, like very random and very strange. And I just don't think that I'm looking for someone who, as a business owner, don't get me wrong, I'm not a business owner, I'm not an org CEO or anyone. So, I mean, like, I could be totally wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think, common sense wise, I'm looking for someone to come to me and be like, I have an esports qualification. I'm like, in what? How? What do you mean?
Yeah.
How are you experienced at all in any of it? I mean, like, how? Like, to me, you're better off bringing your Steam hours to me.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like if you like to me, look.
That's actually a really good point.
Someone brings to me what is it, ECI? ECI qualification. Someone brings to me literally a screenshot on their phone of their Steam hours saying they have 200 plus hours on Valorant. I'm like, you're hired.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but that to me is
How many
more
did you say?
impressive.
How many hours?
200 plus.
200?
200.
You gotta. Those are rookie numbers. You gotta. Get
I know,
that
but
way
I'm just.
higher.
I know, but I'm just saying, like. I'm just saying, like, 200 to me is pretty. That's a lot for me. If you also have a job as well, that's
good
really
point.
hard.
Yeah, good point.
If you have you're not just getting kids off
fair.
the street.
No, it's fair. It's fair.
But just, I'm just saying, it just doesn't make any sense to me because I don't know, and not only that, just the material. What I saw was just weird. It was weird questions.
Yeah.
What do you think of it, babe? Because I'm trying to like balance it here, and I like what I like the message. It's just what a jackass!
Holy Jesus! I'm not even joking. That car was going like 20 miles per hour.
It went so slow
But
past
it was
the window.
so loud. That was actually crazy.
There's a window right here, which is why you can hear it really loud.
Yeah. What do I think of it?
Convertible.
I have a problem with it.
Go on. I like this. Spicy.
No,
Spicy take. Hot take.
It's so tough because like with a lot of this, like I hate sounding really mean. And I always say this, like because I feel like I'm just being such a hater at the end of the day. Okay, look.
Do you think we're being haters because there's just no way in hell we'd ever take that exam?
No. Because like, look, I'm going to say this. I get what you're trying to do.
Yeah, the message.
I get the message. And I can also appreciate that they came out after like all this backlash happened. And they kind of like, I don't want to say they backed down of it, but they were kind of like, okay, we hear you on some of the issues and like we're going to go back to it. I'll be honest. I just think it's business people trying to start something that's not there. That's just kind of my take. I think I don't want to call it like a cash grab because like I'm sure that they.
I mean, how much is it? 400.
The test is 400, and then I think you pay for a study guide or whatever.
Oh my god! Right.
But like I don't want to call the people out because I think that there are a couple people that are on the board that I respect, and I don't think that they would associate with those people if they didn't respect them. You know what I mean? Because I don't know the people.
Well, I understand because the message is quite a nice message.
Yeah,
is what
exactly.
I'm saying.
But I also think it's a cash grab, personally. Like in the nicest way. Like I think it's it's a really good thing you're trying to do, and I get it. But overall, I think it's like you're just trying to start a business, and you kind of came up with that, and you're comparing like, they compared you know what a CPA is?
No.
Yeah. Well,
I failed this exam.
No. So like a CPA is like an accountant.
Yeah.
So like Chris, for example, like row 1 had to take a C, and like David, like,
sure.
My cousin, they had to pass their CPA exam, and they compare the price of a CPA exam to what this is, and like obviously it's way significantly less, but like think about the comparison you're making. You're making college university comparison. Like top. I don't want to say top of your class, but you're making university exams to yours, and like what's your like okay, you want to give this ECI study guide, what's your background to give that?
Yeah,
like, and everything kind of starts that way, I guess you could say, but like unless you're an expert in your field, are you justified in providing
I think
this?
Like some of the comparisons as well to like college, okay, because you can do stuff in college with esports you can do stuff, but like that is coming from a genuine practice educational facility where like universities or colleges are no way gonna let just some crazy ass exam dictate like a degree. For example, like a degree is a well thought out piece of education, and it's like it has levels to it. It has a stimulus. It has, you know, there's so much more to it, and also it's more like it's also more specific. Like you have a field that you're doing. Like you either go down the digital creation route, the how to make a video game, the you know what I mean. Like it's all sorts of stuff like that.
If you pass the ECI exam and you want to go work in Call of Duty, why are you taking questions about Valorant?
I know. It's
like what does that do? So then, like, are they going to start looking up your score specific on what you?
The questions are ridiculous. Regardless, like even the exam in itself, it's just the fact that the thought of an exam is just like still
also
strange.
What
but
does
the questions
also what like
bad.
It's for people that want to get into esports because it's such a tough competition, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing: if I go to school for journalism, or what's like something like a TV host would be. Like broadcasting.
You would go for journalism, and you'd go for like, there's journalism. I didn't do any of that. No. Like actually, you'll find a lot of famous broadcasters don't do that.
Yeah, right. So that's what I'm saying.
Different.
So if I go to college, say it's not about esports anymore, right? Say I wanted to be a broadcaster.
Yeah.
I go to college, right? I get my degrees. I do all that stuff, and I go to insert, top publication here, right? Your CNNs, your Foxes, whatever, right? And I want to be a broadcaster. Are they giving me my shot because I got my certificate, I got my degree? Like, hey, look, I belong in this field. No, like, because I get the idea of it, but at the end of the day, what does it really do? Because if you pass your ECI test, you still then have to figure out where you're going to go.
Yeah. Do you know what I think they should have done or could have done?
Yeah.
Rather than have an exam that dictates whether or not you are capable of working in esports, which, by the way, that exam, to me...
Yeah, the exam is bad.
Does not dictate whether you are capable. If you cannot pass that exam, that does not mean that you cannot work in esports.
Some of the questions, I'd fail it.
Me too. I'd fail it now. I'd fail it now, and I would say that I'm one of the top females in the top of my league.
100%.
I mean, I'm a Call of Duty League host. It doesn't get much bigger than that in terms of, like, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
An analyst, a caster, like that's where it goes.
Broadcasting, right.
So for me, like that's obviously like a dream come true, but there's no way in hell I would be passing that exam.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I'm not qualified or like I'm not good enough to be there. I mean, I know the game in and out. I've hosted for such a long time that I have no problem hosting whatsoever. Yeah. I mean, the stuff I have to deal with hosting from home is so hard. Like,
and a test doesn't prepare you for that.
No, our production team do such a stellar job from home. It is so hard what they do, and it is so hard as a broadcaster. I'm literally standing there in my room with nothing in front of me. Yeah, it's really difficult. I have literally the smallest screen sometimes where I need to do like a sponsored read, and it's really hard from doing it from home. There is no way that exam could tell me whether or not I could do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and that's what...
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, do you know what they should have done?
What's that?
What they should have done is they should have created a business. If they wanted to create a business around something like this to help people get into the industry, create a LinkedIn for esports. So like, don't call it LinkedIn, but call it something else where people who have different, want to do something, want to get into esports, and it's open for other businesses and other orgs to join on and to be a part of, and they can read through people's portfolios. Yeah. Make it a website where you can upload your work, your videos. Like if you want to be a caster, you have recorded yourself over gameplay.
Yeah, that's good.
Your voice, write stuff about yourself.
Kind of like a place you can update your resume.
Basically, a massive resume that has also an area where you can upload videos and digital art, and has a place where you can, it's open for a wide variety of people when it comes to business management, digital art, digital creation, videography, editing, all sorts of things to do with esports, everything and anything to do with esports, production, whatever.
Kind of like a, I don't know, obviously, but like I always see the ads for like Indeed and stuff like that, which is like websites that help you get jobs. Like you upload your resume and all your portfolio and all that stuff, and like jobs can like seek you out through that. That's kind of what you're saying.
Exactly.
It's like
create it like that.
A place where an org can go to find people
post a thing saying, hey, looking for this person. You can then in your
filter it.
But you in your profile on this so-called website, ECI, let's call it, just say ECI did this. You go onto your profile and you apply for that job based on like everything that you've built out in your portfolio, in your profile. Like you have you have what you want to be, you can apply to jobs through that website, and that will help you get in the industry. And then that company, that as a business, you go out and you pitch to orgs to make sure that orgs are using your website to post for potential.
Because people do that now, but it's way more.
Not even just orgs, but everyone.
Yeah, because people do that now, but it's way more direct. Like I see Esport Engine posting for jobs, but like if you're new to gaming and maybe you don't know what Esport Engine is, you're not going to see it compared to what you're saying. You could also, maybe you could have your profile, but then find
but
it.
But I think it also can
access.
help you because it has the right tools for you to create a stellar looking profile.
Yeah.
Like you can have a really lovely organized biography.
Yeah, they should hire you to do this.
Everything. I mean, I've just come up with $100 million idea.
$100 million?
$1 billion idea.
Oh my God. Is that what the gaming industry is? $1 billion?
I don't know, but I've come up with a stellar idea. I'm just saying, who's with me? Because I think that is a much better way of helping people get into it. And not only that, taking control of what they do. Because you can that way take control of what you're good at. Like you can show your skills. There's no way that piece of paper, that ECI that has a weird fluctuation of so many different aspects of esports, which make no sense. Those questions are so weird. That does not tell me anything about you as a person, because it's not specific. It's a really esports is not specific. Esports is filled with so many different alleyways that you can go down. I'm sorry, but one piece of paper does not tell me about you. It doesn't.
I agree.
Just saying. Just what do you guys think? I want to know. What do you guys think about that? Because it's a very interesting topic. It has been one that has been like kind of talked about. Yes, we're slow on the trend because we're just chill here. But let us know what you think about it, because I'm very interested to see what you guys think. And I feel like I have come up with a really good alternative suggestion, because
I agree.
I don't want people thinking for a second we're like, you're not allowed in. Of course you are.
No.
You know,
that's not what
that isn't. I think that's not the way to do it.
It's not. It's not a matter of you're not allowed in. It's just a matter of a $400 piece of paper in this industry isn't going to be what does it. And again, part of the problem with it is what is your qualification to give that has a respect.
I'm going to give some advice on the back of it after.
Okay, can I finish real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
If like someone like Hex, this is no offense to the people who are running it. If someone like Hex, as we talk about OpTic and the empire that they built, if someone like Hex, Nadeshot, and who's like another big like top owner, like I can think of like Hastro, right? Or something like that, right? Guys that have been around forever and did it. If they came out with like that same thing, way more justified. Yeah,
because they've been here for a long time.
They know. But I think the idea in general didn't hit the mark. I think what you said was fantastic. But
so my advice, okay, guys, if you are looking to get in the scene, I would advise to not do that. I mean, I don't know how far I really should go with saying that, but that to me doesn't make any sense.
I'll just wait.
Yeah.
Don't be quick to do it.
Yeah, or wait and just see what you think. However, what I would say, if you are trying to get into the scene, here's some advice. Depending on what you want to do, make yourself known. Be loud. Esports is not a quiet place to be.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. Be loud. Be obviously, mature.
Yeah.
But if you want to do something specific, go out and get it. There's no way that you can just sit there and just do nothing. If you want something, go out and get it. Create a resume. I think the best thing to do is create material. Like depending on what you want to do, depending on what field you want to go down in esports, but from a broadcast perspective, which is what questions I get asked a lot about broadcasting and casting, create material. Go and do things off your own back.
Content.
Literally go find games, dub out all of the sound and put your voice over the top of it. Go play some Call of Duty League play matches, whatever you want to do, even you playing, it doesn't matter, and go and cast them over the top of the gameplay.
It's
go
funny,
make material.
It's funny, like obviously it's an unbelievably hard scene to get into now because it's on the come up and so many people want to be in it. But like, for the most part, like the come up story is really always the same for most people. It's like you started out like you didn't know what to do and you just kind of went for it and you record content and cast over stuff and you start doing interviews and like you do anything you can do. You start reaching out to players or not necessarily players, but you reach out to organizations and companies who are doing this stuff, and it's like I think of so many stories that all start that way. Remember like Caster Butters,
Butters
you know how he started out. Like obviously I don't especially with Halo, I don't know what he's up to nowadays, but like he was at 2018 Worlds, right? How he started out? He'd cast matchmaking.
I know.
And it blew up on stream. Everyone thought it was hilarious and really funny.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's at an event.
Exactly.
And
Like there's so many
there's
different avenues to go. Yeah. I mean, I did that, but I didn't do that with esports at the time. I wasn't really sure, like, you know, about the esports world, to be perfectly honest. But I did that with traditional sport. I literally bugged the BBC. I emailed the guy over and over and over again with like stuff that I had done for free and like people I had just gone and interviewed just for fun and stuff like that. And I did it over and over and over again. And he finally saw my email somehow and was like, oh wow, God, you're really persistent. Like you clearly really want this. Do you want to come in for an internship in the BBC? I was like, yeah, BBC, by the way, is like CNN. And I was like, in the UK and actually in Wales. And I started off my journey interning for BBC, watching the top journalists do their stuff. I learned so much from literally just bugging people and offering to do stuff. And I think obviously there's another kind of alleyway that we could go down another time about
the pay and stuff.
The pay and internship. Yeah. But I was paid by the BBC, so that was nice. I was actually paid. I was on their payroll, which was great. But I think like to start out with, just to get noticed, I think it's pure passion that needs to drive you. Sorry, we've got maniacs on our street. Pure passion needs to drive you. And I think if people in the industry see passion, I know that I'm hiring passion over paper. Yeah. I love that. Passion over paper. I 100% would.
Yeah. I just think that every story is kind of the same. Of you just love it and you're grinding to do content and figure stuff out. Like Lot said, nothing's stopping you. Want to be a caster or an analyst? Play your voice, you know, put a gameplay on, cut out the sound and cast over it, or maybe at the end, you know, you give your analysis and you start between it to people. And you know what I mean? I'll tell you what, players, casters, talent, they see what most of the time, unless you tweet something dumb and get blocked, people are seeing what you're going to say. Because that's the beauty of social media at the end of the day. So whether it's emailing people or tweeting it at people, you know what I mean? Like just like you're saying, you got to get out and
you do. And I think
put yourself out there.
It's different alleyways for management and coaching and stuff like that. I think coaching is a very tough one because coaching comes with experience as well. Experience, like most coaches are ex-pro players for a reason because they're incredible and they're brilliant. Their minds are great.
Because some of it comes, for something like that, it just comes down to like networking too.
But managing managers and stuff like that, you know, that's a kind of different alleyway, and that's more like connections, like emails. Send a ton of emails. Have a great looking LinkedIn profile that you can push people to. Have a great resume, very organized. Because with management, it's all about organization. It's all about how you present yourself. It's about being the person that people want to look up to and respect. Because managers, people got to listen to them on the team. So there's all sorts of different things that you can do within yourself to show that you are more than capable. And I don't think it does just come down to a generic and a very strange exam result.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Agreed.
Yeah. So time to rate our coffee. Ready?
Yeah.
Shall I go first? How many grinds?
I give it an 8.
You're going to give it an 8 out of 10? Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think about it?
I thought it was really good. I actually really, it took a little bit of work. We talked about at the start of the episode. Took a little bit of work to get it to be, but I think that was our fault, to get it to be a delicious cup of coffee. I actually really like it now. So I give it an 8. I would have gone higher. That's how much I would give this. I'd actually would have liked it more, I think.
8.8.
Oh, wow.
Grinds out of 10. Because I think this is a stellar cup of USA coffee, a cup of Joe that I could imagine in a diner that you are just, it's a sip of heaven. You know, you're eating your pancakes from IHOP and your hash brown. What is it? The hash? Potato hash?
Hash brown?
Not a hash brown. It's the one that's like, it's in a pile and it's grated.
Yeah, I think
what is it called?
I don't know. Potato hash, I guess.
Potato
I don't know.
Pile, I don't Potato know. Mountain. And your sausage links and your streaky bacon that's cooked to the high heavens, and it is delicious. And then you take a sip of that, and that is, that's the cherry on the top. Yeah, because
it's a dark roast. It's pretty strong. It's meant to be strong. It's a dark roast.
And it just, the packaging reads to me diner. Does it not?
Yeah, it kind of does.
The packaging reads diner. It says not your average Joe. I feel like just the terminology and stuff.
You mean
is
that
like
as a compliment, obviously.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah. I love it. I love the I think it's wicked. But that's what I want out of a coffee. I want the coffee to taste the way that the packaging is saying as well. Like like
some people in here where you're like that, the diner coffee, and some people don't like.
Well, the packaging looks like a diner. It's like it's got like the lines through it. It's got like the kind of diner writing, like the font and stuff and the style, which I love diners. I love it. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine. Yeah. Ooh, I love a diner meal. It reminds me of the shiny diners, the ones that are really shiny, metal shiny. But yeah, I think it's really delicious. I think they're definitely on the ball when they said this delicious blend is anything but average. I think it's really good.
Strong.
Solid dark roast. I don't think you can go wrong with
If
it.
you want a strong coffee, there you
Don't
go.
think you can go wrong with that in the morning. I think it's really, really nice. So yeah, 8.8 and an 8.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Sounds
I think I
beautiful.
would have went higher. Like if I think that
Still change your mind if you want.
no, I'm gonna stay with an 8 just because of my initial impression
Man
of
his
it.
word.
Just because of my initial impression, I'm gonna go with an 8. I think an 8's good.
Beautiful.
Because I didn't love it at the start, but I think that was on us because I think we messed with the levels a little bit because it was really strong, and I like strong coffee, but almost like too strong, So, but we figured it out, and I do think it's delicious now.
Beautiful. Well, I think that's about it. We're going to wrap it up for episode 12. It has been a pleasure bringing you this episode on your Wednesday, and I hope you're having a wonderful week. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay rested. It's major time on Thursday, so I hope you're getting yourself ready. Get your snacks in, guys. Go to Acme, go to ShopRite, go to Target, wherever whatever your local is. Go get some snacks because you ain't moving for the rest of the week.
They might not have. The only thing they might know from that is Target. Depending on where they're at, you know what I mean.
Well, then I'm
go
with
to
you.
Your go to your grocery store.
Those are the only ones. Go to your grocery store and get a massive pot of cheese balls and just go ham, guys. It's the time to just have fun. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. We love hearing from you guys, so please keep commenting. Thank you so much for the likes. Thank you for the love. We appreciate you. Thank you for sharing and writing in. We love to see it. We love you guys, and we will catch you on the next episode. And as always, stay on the grind.